Welcome in, everybody, to another episode of Scurry and The Scrub. I'm Matt DeMarinis. He's Jordan Scurry. We're back again, this time after Big East Media Day in New York City, Madison Square Garden. The Jays were up there. Everybody in the Big East was up there. All the hype, like all the awards came out.
It's real now.
All the talking points are warmed up and ready to go, ready to serve for us to dissect and to pick apart and maybe agree with. We'll agree with some of them. I think I'm gonna be mostly agreeable today. I think. Uh,
I mean, there's
I have
one
a
big
feeling.
one
I have
I
a
agree
feeling
with,
Jordan won't. I
but
have a feeling Jordan won't be. So I'll try to be. I'll try to like balance the force today.
hey, I got one
Um.
big agreement and one big disagreement.
Okay.
So, hey, I'll just leave it that. But
Yeah.
happy to be back.
So yeah, we're gonna give our reaction to everything that came out of media day today, and you guys have been hitting us up on Twitter all day. We'll get to your questions and comments as well. And yeah, should just be a good show. So let's tee it up real quick, just to recap everything from a factual basis before we give our opinions. Big East men's preseason poll. I don't think there's many surprises here. Um, Creighton obviously came in first. I think that was kind of what everybody expected, especially with Jay Wright not being in the fold anymore for Villanova. Plus, they lost a bunch of experience. So, yeah, I don't think there's any big shock that Creighton is the number one pick in the preseason poll. It looks like they were close to unanimous. They got 98 points, 8 first place votes. So, all but 3 of the first place votes. They could have gotten 10 total. And Mac obviously couldn't vote for himself. So, we don't know which way he went with that. Did he go with Nova or did he go with Xavier? That'll be up to him to divulge if he feels like it. But they were near unanimous number one. Xavier came in number two, and I think that caught people. It certainly caught people off guard because you're just not used to seeing Villanova below the 1-2 spot, right? I don't know if I was really shocked by that, but we'll get into that in a sec. Villanova was three. They got one first place vote. They were only 1 point behind Xavier. UConn was fourth. Providence was fifth. St. John's sixth. Seton Hall seventh. Butler eighth. Marquette ninth. Georgetown 10th. DePaul 11. So a little bit of a surprise at the bottom. Um, that's the men's side for the preseason poll first. So let's just jump into that one real quick. Um, are you surprised by anything you saw there, Mr. Scurry?
Not surprised, but I think that middle of the pack was interesting to me. I think it could have gone anyway between Nova and Xavier. Interesting that it is Xavier. I think personally, it's like obviously because of like their personnel. Um, but
Yeah.
I don't know. I think that's a toss up. I think that one, that 2 and 3, that's a toss up there. And then I think like 4 through 6 is also a huge toss up.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I
So
could
you
have
so you so you
organized, I
think
guess,
St.
two
John's
through
belongs in
six a different way, but
so you think St. John's belongs in that 4 through 6 group with Providence and UConn then? You like St. John's this year?
oh no. I think they're no, I don't believe I shouldn't have like said that, I guess the 4 through 6. I think maybe might have been longer than 6, I guess. I
I
think
mean,
that
St.
could have
John's has
gone
some
a
pieces
lot
this year.
differently.
St. John's has some pieces this year. I mean, David Jones.
They have some
They have DePaul's
pieces,
best player,
but
Illinois, and they got Illinois' point guard.
I think St. John's
Like,
is a team I think is going to do very well in non-conference play, but once it comes down time to conference play, I worry about them.
yeah, they're
I
my
don't
they're
think
my
they're going
like
to have like defensively scrappy team. I think that they definitely are matched. They create a lot of matchup problems for a lot of teams in the Big East, not even just Creighton.
mhm.
But I think that I don't know how sustainable I can see that style of play being in the Big East specifically, because I don't know how they're going to fare when you have to consistently, like, obviously defensively they'll be okay, I think, but when you have to consistently find someone to go to for buckets during Big East play and have a system on how to like create offense, worry about them there. So they're definitely one that I was saying a little high in the rankings.
Yeah, it kind of puts them in a precarious spot because if you figure the Big East is consistently a 6 or 7 bid league, they're they're in that spot where you can't miss the tournament. You know what I mean? From a preseason expectation standpoint now, and it's weird that they're in that spot without Julian Champagny, but he's not there anymore. So you figure David Jones is probably the prime candidate to get most of their buckets, right? At least on paper. You're a little curious about how the Posh Alexander Andre Cabello thing is going to shake out, right? Um, and then they have some unknowns after that, you know. So yeah, it's an odd spot for them because they can't really surprise out of the sixth spot, and they can't. I mean, much I don't think unless they win the league, and they can't. But they can fall. You know what I mean? Which would be a massive disappointment and probably maybe something that's unsurvivable from Mike Anderson's perspective, right? Because that would be 4 years with no tournaments, with no NCAA tournament appearances, right? Like even Chris Mullen made one in his 3 years. So, um, yeah, it's an odd spot for them, but I think it's one from a talent level standpoint they kind of belong in. I think. Um, Below that is interesting though. Like Seton Hall might be, might be a little high, depending on how that core shakes out. Like if they can find their rhythm early enough to where they understand who they are as a team because they're mixing in like a whole new system, right? Um, New coaching staff, new players. They don't really have a whole lot that's bankable in terms of guys you trust to be go-to guys in the Big East on a nightly basis yet. So they could fall down to that bottom tier, honestly, because they're kind of like I think they kind of are in the seven line out of respect for Seton Hall's recent success. And then you
Yeah, and
have
I think
Butler.
just with that too, I think it's really gonna shake out. I think what I'm the most, I guess, reluctant to like make a declaration of who's going to be in that middle of the pack is
Mhm.
because like the way I've seen it shake out for years has been injuries and who can actually like stay healthy throughout that year in that middle of the pack. And I'm worrying about some of these teams because they're just a little like, especially even with the Seton Halls and the St. John's of this conference, I'm worried about if they can like still be going if they lose one person for even let's say like best case scenario, like a 3 to 4 week period. I don't know if either of those teams I trust in the middle part of the season to still sustain some type of success if they lose something there. Those are the
Yeah,
main ones.
I 100% agree with you. And then you have Butler, who I think is interesting because they've added some players into some spots that make them un-Butler like. I keep harping on Manny Bates. Like Butler has actual rim protection this year, actual elite rim protection. Um, then you have the Chuck Harris, Miles Tate, Seamus like trio. Like that's interesting, right? They're kind of an interesting group. They have some, length on the wing, some versatility in the guard court, and then they have a rim protector. So it's like Butler's kind of interesting. I mean, just if you look at the pieces they have together, can they can they be the surprise team of the Big East? So I thought going into the year that St. John's and Butler kind of had an opportunity to be the surprise teams in the league, but when you factor in, we're recording this on video, right? Like sneaking away is gonna like people are gonna see that. Um, and he's muted too.
Just blew the cover.
Yeah, he
Continue.
did. I was like, he tried to be slick there. I don't think he realizes we're back on video. Anyway, Butler and St. John's I thought could be the surprise teams in the league, but where St. John's shakes out, I'm not sure if that's possible anymore. They kind of just have to make the tournament out of the sixth spot, I think. If the
So
league has a
call
strong year.
so what's your call then? St. John's making the tournament or no?
Yeah, because before I said one of the two, right?
Yeah.
Last week, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So now I'm kind of in a weird spot because St. John's is in that spot in the preseason where they kind of have to make it. Like, if
Mm,
you figure the Big East is going to be an elite league this year, it has to be what 6, 7 deep at least, doesn't it? It
right.
can't be it can't be five or less because that's not one of the top two or three conferences then, right?
Mm, all right. Yeah. I
Because
just
you
like
can't get
don't.
I don't think they
I
can have
think
5 out of 11 and still be an elite
right.
league this year.
I think my only thing is if they finish seven though, I don't know if I trust them with their record and with whatever they've shown. If they do drop to that seven spot, that's when it could be rocky. Because
Yeah,
if Butler performs how you think they're going to perform, and say
Well,
another team
again,
gets hot. I
yeah,
don't know.
yeah,
That makes it interesting.
yeah, for sure. Because you have to figure out where your cutoff is, you know. So
Yeah.
yeah, I don't know. I think Butler is going to be. I think Butler's going to finish in the top seven. So I know that's not much of a take because it's like that's not, I'm not basically expecting them to be on the come up at all. I think they're going to finish in the top seven though. I think when you look at Seton Hall, what they have, when you look at what Marquette has, Georgetown and DePaul, I think it's hard to trust those teams right now to be anything. I think it's hard to trust those teams to break out of the bottom tier. I
Yep.
think that's the four I trust the least.
I
So
think
the
that
top so
definitely
the
makes
top
it
seven for
difficult.
me goes Butler, St. John's, Providence, UConn, Nova, Xavier, Creighton on up. You know what I mean? That's what I
Yeah.
feel comfortable with riding with. So right now I feel like there's only one. So right now I feel like there's only one spot out of order, and that's Seton Hall and Butler. I feel pretty comfortable that Butler's going to be a better team this year, much better, honestly.
I think I'll rock with you on that. I think I'm definitely gonna. I guess, are we agreeing? This is weird. We're having our first agree of the episode. What? But yeah, I think I rock with you on that, and definitely going back after. I mean, last time we talked and going there, I think the Butler coaching staff is going to make the difference. You know, they got my man Greg Oden in there. They actually have a rim protector. Their staff seems to be the classic Adama staff, and he's had success with it. So yeah, I don't know. And I just don't think, I know it's weird to say, but I just don't think like for St. John's rather to be as good as a tournament team this year, like I don't know if that's going to be as easy as they think just with the talent they have. Like I don't know if they're going to be able to form that identity early enough, where I do believe Butler will, even in the first year of Thad Matta and whatnot. I think that Butler will actually be able to put it together quicker than them. So I'll double down with you. I'll say that.
I forgot Butler has Eric Hunter Jr. too from Purdue. They got him
Oh,
to
I didn't.
they got a trans like that's a
Yeah, I didn't
veteran.
even know that.
That's gonna make them better. I mean, he's not like a I don't think he's gonna be like all Big East or anything, but I mean that's a veteran that's
Oh,
won a
for
lot of
sure.
games on in good programs and stuff. So I don't know. I just like their pieces. I think they fit together pretty well. And then, we'll see what Thad Matta still has left in the tank. I think that's a question mark too, because usually when coaches like are burnt out, it's the flame doesn't get relit. You know what I mean?
But
So
to that point, when coaches are burnt down to that point, what can help them get through is their staff, right? Because who are the players spending the majority of the time with? Who are the players going to then be like doing a lot of personnel things or personnel, a lot of like situational, all that in practice? Like one coach, like certain coaches have the defense, certain coaches have the offense, how we've done it like historically at Creighton in the past. I think that might be how they're going to end up like delegating the responsibilities there. And I think that's going to benefit the players. And it'll be a cool new change to kind of what traditionally Butler has been. I don't know. Hinkle still puts the fear God in me.
that's for sure. The other thing about Thad Matta too is like where he gives me the most pause coming back into the game. I don't know if we'll see it as much this year because I think this year for Butler, I think we'll see his impact in the coaching side of it and the strategy side of it and the game planning side of it. Where I wonder about his longevity in terms of getting Butler back to that, NCAA tournament every year type of program is like how he handles the recruiting and everything like that. Because that's
Mm-hmm.
where I think a lot of the coaches kind of get the fatigue factor is just being on the road and dealing with all the things that go with recruiting, especially nowadays. It's probably harder than it was when he left the game. And it seemed like that was the thing that burned him out the most. So he might not see it this year. He might just be able to coach and get comfortable. And this group is put together, I think, well enough for him to get a lot out of them and possibly make them into a tournament team. Which would I think that would do a couple things. It would raise the expectations on him and the program. So he would have to make sure he nails the recruiting side of it, sustain that. So I think there are still challenges for that program, but I think this year might be a pretty good year for them, all things considered. Um, let's go to the very bottom because I'm curious to see how surprised you are that the 0-18, 0-19 Georgetown Hoyas, right? Because they went one and done in the Big East tournament too, didn't they? last
They
year? I don't
did.
think they won. I don't think they won any Big East games. So yeah, the 0-19 Georgetown Hoyas are a pretty comfortable 9 points ahead of DePaul. So like they got uh I mean they were you're near unanimous number 10 and DePaul was a year near unanimous last place. Are you surprised by that? Are you surprised that Tony Stubblefield in his second year got put in the cellar with Georgetown coming off of an 0 and 0 and 0 for?
Well, I actually need your help in figuring this one out because I've been going back and forth with this one all day. Is it because of the win over Creighton? Is it because I think that it's crazy theory here, but just bear with me. Is it because in 2020 Patrick Ewing has a win over Coach Mack in the Garden and like that still is living on? Because other than that, I can't see why there would be that much in between these two teams. Given what I watched last year of both teams, I don't think it's I don't think it's that crazy. Is there a crazy recruiting class for Georgetown I missed out on? Did I miss that in the news? Did I?
I mean, they have something. They have something. I mean, they've always kind of recruited pretty well. Um,
Well, yeah, no, I think they get.
but not. But then it seemed to have underachieved with the talent they brought in, or it hasn't fit together at all. Everybody always ends up transferring
I was
out.
just about to say that they get
So
good players. They have
yeah, they get good
Georgetown has
players.
good players, but
Yeah,
the
they do.
problem is basketball. Good players have to play together to
Yes,
win the game,
yes,
and I
especially
don't.
consistently.
I don't know if I saw any of that. Actually, wait, I do know. I
Georgetown,
didn't see
Georgetown
any of
has
that.
no. In the Ewing era, Georgetown has been that team that's good enough to beat everyone in the league, but isn't good enough to be one of the best teams in the league because they're not consistent.
Right,
They're the team that's good enough to go to a level that can beat everyone they play,
right.
but they're just not consistent enough with what they do well and what they do poorly that they can't string it together. That's how they've been because
Yeah.
they've always kind of gotten up for
Georgetown, you ever
games. They've
seen
pushed teams.
you
They've
seen the
beaten
movie
Nova. They've beaten Creighton. They've beaten I think they've beaten everybody they could beat. They just haven't done it consistently. You know.
so you've seen Any Given Sunday, the movie?
Yeah.
You know, my man
Yeah.
Willie Beeman.
Yeah.
Georgetown lives
Willie
any given
Beeman.
Sunday. Yeah, Georgetown lives any given Sunday on any Big East game. That's their motto.
Yeah.
Like I don't know how else to explain it because I don't see
Right.
the consistency there. But yeah,
Yeah, I think I think DePaul. I know it's hard to say this in like say this sentence because it's not there's not much of a ceiling to it, but I think DePaul got a little disrespected.
no, I
I don't know
agree.
how that's possible, but I think they did.
I know.
I think DePaul can actually play a disrespect card this year
Yeah, people are gonna think
if
we're
they are so
crazy. People are
inclined.
gonna think we're crazy, but when I see DePaul winning. mm, I'm not gonna. Oh, what did I put with DePaul's line at last year or
We
two
always
years
say some
ago?
crazy shit with DePaul though.
We always say some crazy DePaul take, but I'll just say, I mean, I don't actually know what I don't care. I'm gonna say it now. I see DePaul winning more games than Georgetown. I got you. I got you right now. I think they should win more games. I think they're gonna be on a tear. I think they feel disrespected. I think they're sick of being in this place.
Not
So
tear.
I'm gonna
I
go
don't know
out.
about.
I'm gonna go.
Yeah.
A tear might be one game, Matt. But hey, you know what?
Yeah. All right.
Let DePaul have it. I'm rocking with them.
Yeah, I feel like I'm just surprised there's a gap there. I because that I don't know, man. I don't think
Yeah.
Georgetown's in a good spot right now.
I think
Like,
they both needed to be in like a co-last position to
yeah,
motivate one of the two, like
yeah,
somewhere.
I
But I
know.
feel like now DePaul has that motivation. So
I don't think it's possible with the 11 teams to get single digit points anymore. But I don't like if someone that turned in like a zero, like,
yeah,
or left Georgetown off a ballot, I wouldn't have been surprised either. Like, no, I'm just not gonna. They're so last place that I'm not even gonna give them a vote. And then the Big East just like awards them no points for that ballot or whatever. It's
yeah,
probably not possible. The Big East probably like, look, you have to put them on the ballot, please, because we can't have them have like 3 points. So I'm just surprised because DePaul is almost unanimous. They're a near unanimous last place, and Georgetown's coming off the offer. Like I just that's DePaul smoked them last year. Like that's crazy disrespectful. Like
let's see. We'll see.
I think Georgetown earned preseason last place. Like
What?
I think they earned that. So they
How many
gave it to
times
them.
did how many times did Georgetown and DePaul play this year?
Well,
Just the
2.
once in the
No,
schedule.
they're gonna play twice.
They got the 2.
Yeah, it's
Oh,
double. It's it's
so
it's it's
how do
double
you
round
think that?
robin in the Big East now.
How do you think that
They're
goes?
still.
How do you think that season series goes? DePaul,
Gee, I
Georgetown,
mean,
head to
well,
head.
I mean, DePaul lost a lot. Like they lost Javon Freeman Liberty, David Jones. Like their studs are gone. So
Yeah.
I know why DePaul is last. I know on paper why they're last.
Nah,
I just
man.
think, I just think we do. Every year with the preseason poll, you always like kind of reward teams for what they've done, what they did last year. You kind of do that.
Little bit.
And I think Georgetown earned preseason last place because they didn't.
Okay, all right. I'm
You
with
know what
you.
I
I'm
mean?
with you. I'm
I
with
don't think
you.
they earned. I don't think they earned their way out of the cellar. That's not fair. I think you
I'm
went
with
0
you.
and 19. You deserve to be in 11th place to start the year. Like I think you just
True.
like
Like
you know what I mean.
if you
Because
went
now
19
you
and
just
0,
disrespected some team who had no like DePaul didn't deserve that. Like they didn't.
deserve
They don't.
what?
They don't deserve a whole lot of respect, but they don't deserve to be below Georgetown to start the year.
Right,
That's
right, right.
messed
Yeah,
up.
right. Okay, okay, okay.
I think that's rude. I think the Big East coaches were rude this year to DePaul. They were
All right.
rude to him.
Fair. That's a fair assessment.
Let's go back up to the top though, because I mean, I don't think I expected Providence to lose all that they lost from last year's team and still be, I don't think they expected them to be above UConn. So that's not a surprise at all to me. UConn is gonna. I don't know if UConn's ever gonna be below 4. They just like I don't know why. They just
It's their
got
safe
they
space.
have like that baseline of respect where they're UConn and they're like, we're not gonna put them below, we're certainly not gonna put them in the bottom mid to bottom half of the league. So 4 is a good spot for them, I guess. They have enough back to kind of respect them still. But the Xavier Villanova thing is interesting, and then Creighton not being unanimous number 1 is another interesting part of it. So I'm curious. Let's start with Xavier and Villanova. Let's talk about that a little bit first. I'm not surprised by that at all because I think I said on the last podcast, and I know I've said it on, I did a Big East roundtable. I know in another show, like I can't remember where I've said these things, but Xavier has a ton of players back from a team that won the NIT. So if I'm beating a dead horse here because I've said it before and you've heard me say it, I just think that's a recipe for success. Like I think Xavier is going to be really good this year. I think they're going to make the NCAA tournament. I think they upgraded their coaching staff. I really do. I think Sean Miller, for his limitations, um, and for just kind of being crazy generally on the sidelines, I think he's a better coach than Travis Steele. And yeah, just those ingredients right there, I think they deserve the second spot. I know that's like, wow, you're putting Villanova 3. Like, yeah, I kind of am. They don't have, I mean, I think Kyle Neptune's going to be fine, but Jay Wright's not there anymore. Colin Gillespie's not there anymore. Jermaine Samuels is gone. And Justin Moore is coming off a torn Achilles from April. I think I got pushback today from Villanova fans when I jumped into Fanta's mentions and said, I'm not shocked that Xavier's 2 and Villanova's 3 because Nova lost all their top contributors, right? Like, who's their best guy coming back? Is what, Caleb Daniels? So Nova fans are like, Justin Moore's coming back for conference play. And I'm like, is anyone doing the math on Justin Moore's recovery here? Because if he comes back, conference play starts a few days before Christmas. So that would be 8 months out from a torn Achilles. What do people, I mean, help me out here, Jordan. I don't think, I know you haven't torn your Achilles before, but Kevin Durant and Klay Thompson took over a year to come back. You know what I mean? And even when they came back, they were still like limited at first. They were in and out of the lineup pretty consistently for the first month or so. After that, now those were 2 of the baddest dudes in the world, and they took a year. Kobe came back 8 months after his because he's a psycho, and then he blew a wheel. He hyperextended his knee. He was out for the year. He played 6 games, so he rushed back, played 6 games, and then he was done for the season after that. Like, do we really think Justin Moore's coming back in 8 months and making Villanova a contender? I don't. That's
No.
a blown Achilles. 8 months. Am I being too harsh on that? Like, is the kid going to come
No.
back, or am I being
Th-
realistic here?
This would have to be like to have the impact that I think a lot of people are talking about, where Villanova would be more of a contender than we think at that point. Like he would have to be LeBron James to come back from an injury and actually have the impact in a Big East season, like the way people are saying, like immediately. I definitely think he will have an impact eventually, but at 8 months? No, I think he's also going to go through a period of like a ramping period where his minutes are probably restricted at first and then get back to playing in the full lineup and integrating in that way. And then even that is going to take him some time to like find his new tendencies and his new kill spots, find where his team is flowing. And God forbid Villanova catch a stride right when he's coming back, then where is he going to fit in? So I think there's a lot of moving parts to what Villanova has to go through in terms of when the Big East season starts and Justin Moore comes back. But no, I don't even see why he's coming back 8 months. I'd like definitely take longer than that in my personal opinion. But hey, if he feels better to come back, like good for him. I just don't know. Yeah, I don't have the confidence in them. I think 3 is right. I mean, they're still Villanova, but I just don't see him coming back and having the immediate impact he had even just with last year's team and who he was to last year's team. I don't see him actually reaching like close to that until maybe the end of this year, hopefully for them. So I don't know. It'll be an interesting way to see how he gets reintegrated into that lineup. But I agree with you in terms of I feel like they were like I get why I have my own feelings about Xavier and why I don't like that they're 2. But hey, that's not to say that they don't have a really good team going into this year and an upgraded coaching staff. So yeah, I think it was fair. That 2-3, I thought that was very fair.
Yeah. I just I agree with you because I think the thing that isn't being like talked about enough is with in regards to Justin Moore and Villanova. It's just because he's back doesn't mean he's back, right?
Mhm.
Like he
I
has to.
think that gets mixed up so many
There's a difference
times in
between being
terms
like
of when a
ready to
player
play and like ready to make an impact because it's just different.
exactly.
Getting in game shape is different than being in like game shape. I don't know how to say it.
Yeah,
Like I don't know. You just can't come back and be you right off the jump from an injury
yeah,
like that. You're gonna take some time. So even if he is back December 21st or whatever, which I don't think. I mean, I think that's a rushed timeline. I
I
do.
agree.
But if he's, if he wants to be out there, power to him, more power to him. And if he's ready to go and he's ready to play, they're gonna plug him in.
Yeah,
And I just don't think he's gonna be Justin Moore. You know what I mean? First team all Big East Justin Moore as soon as he comes back. I think that's gonna take a minute too. So I think 3 is fair. And honestly, the thing about the Villanova that's tough is they are sandwiched in between our 2 favorite frauds, Xavier and UConn. So
oh,
we kind of have to like someone has to be above them, someone has to be below them. So basically
it's gonna
who
be
do
on
we who do
fraud
we think
alert.
is who's on fraud alert more for us? And for me this year I think it's UConn because they have less back from last year. They lost some key pieces. Now they added some stuff, so they might be better, but I'm not gonna put them better on paper until I see it. So, they've got some young players who might, make jumps. Um, but right now I have them below Xavier because Xavier has a lot of experience back from a team that ended the year pretty well and they added a better coach. So while those 2 are definitely like certainly our top 2 fraud alert teams, just because of the things that they get a lot of preseason hype and then they don't live up to that very often. Certainly not recently. And if I'm ranking those 2, I have Xavier above UConn. So Villanova has to slip in between them because Villanova deserves that respect and they have a lot of talent on this team. So I think Xavier belongs at 2, and I think Nova 3, UConn 4 makes a lot of sense. And I'm skeptical. Like I said, I've already said why I think Nova isn't um like why betting on Justin Moore isn't you know I just don't get it right now. Like that's a torn Achilles, man. That's tough to come back from. Like we know how
I
tough that is. The best players in the world don't come back and look the same for a long time after that.
yeah,
So it's going to take Justin Moore a minute. Might take
and that's a
honestly, he might. I think you should sit out the whole year and get right for whatever after if
I
you want.
was
If you know what I
yeah.
mean. Like I just don't see him.
Achilles, that's a tough one, man. Yeah.
Nothing
I just
good's going
hope
to
he
come out
doesn't
of
come
that.
back too soon and get hurt
Yeah,
again.
dude,
Like that would break my
overcompensation.
heart.
I'm
I
freaking
don't
out right now.
yeah.
Aren't you thinking about that overcompensation?
Yeah.
You come back from a torn Achilles
Yeah.
in 8 months. Think about how hard you had to push yourself through that, right?
Yeah, because in
something
8 months, you're
you're
still
gonna
like, you
hurt
think your
something
game
else.
is the same.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, he needs time. He needs more time to even just like adjust his game, like see the flow. That's a weird time to come back to. Like, let your team even
Dude,
maybe get
December
through a few
21st,
Big
you're like
East
right at,
games. Like,
yeah. Teams are gonna be figured out by
that's a
then. Like,
very
yeah.
weird time to come back. Yeah,
Yeah.
I don't know
Yeah.
how I feel about that one, man.
Okay, so last question on the standings is are you surprised that Creighton wasn't unanimous number one?
Am I surprised? No. I love the haters, man. What you mean? Like, this is Creighton, their
Well,
first time.
there's still
What is
only
it? Our
two
first time? Is it our first time ever
in the
being
Big East. It
number one
is
in
in
the
the
Big
Big
East?
East. It
Yeah.
is. Yeah.
No, I don't. No, because we have to show like the same point of a DePaul. Like, we've never been in this first place before, so we have to now show people why like we deserve to be a unanimous. I think that comes with reputation. I definitely think Max like a coaching ability and what Max done over his tenure
We harped on that, right? Yep.
deserves a unanimous number one. What Max done definitely deserves unanimous number one. But I don't think it's just that. I think there's a lot of other moving pieces that the people don't see and like realize as much as we do, being as close to the program, that would, I guess, deter them from ranking Creighton unanimous number one. But no, I'm not surprised by it, I guess. I think I actually expected it, and I don't hate it because it's a little bit more pressure, a unanimous number one. So don't really hate it. Understand it.
Okay, so let's should we recklessly speculate on who the two who voted for let's I think Mac voted for Villanova. Do you
I
think
agree.
so?
Yeah.
Okay. So let's just assume incorrectly because we're likely going to be wrong. Let's just assume that Mac gave Villanova a tip of the cap, right? And it said, "Look, you guys are the flagship program in the Big
Yeah.
East. I'm going to
He
throw it.
was like, let me
I'm going to throw my I
no, the
can't vote for
Mac, no,
myself,
no, no,
vote for
no.
you." Yeah,
The Mac was let me pay homage, Jay
yeah,
Wright, what he did. Because
yeah.
Mac's about that legacy. Mac's about that impact, So you pay
Okay,
homage to my man Jay Wright.
yeah. So if Mac's listening, he can tell us how wrong we were that he actually voted for Xavier when we talk to him in a couple weeks before the season starts. But for
Probably.
now, we're just going to say he voted for Villanova out of respect. So
Right.
that means we got to let's recklessly speculate on the two coaches that voted for Xavier and not Creighton. Then who do you think
Oh,
who do you think that you said you like the haters? Who are the two haters?
I love him. Okay. Because it can't. Oh, this is great. On the spot. Ooh, oh, definitely UConn because they haven't seen enough Creighton
Yeah,
in
so
their life.
I think
Definitely.
Hurley's an easy pick for
Yeah,
sure.
that
I'm
was
with
an
you
easy
there.
pick.
Yeah.
That was easy.
Who's the
Ooh,
other hater though?
second. Who is the other hater?
There's not really an animosity with the rest of them, you know? There's just it would be a new deal. Do you think Cooley voted against his boy?
Nah, I don't think so. I
Yeah, I
don't
don't
think
think so
Cooley would
either.
do that. I
I
think
don't think so.
Cooley would
Yeah.
Cooley would
Especially
understand.
because Cooley just remembers what just happened, you know what I mean? Like in New York. So I don't think he would be doing that. I think he knows that Creighton's the real deal. So
Hmm. I think I'm gonna be all right. I'm gonna go with my man Sean Miller, but why is because he's in where actually
well,
you could
Sean
actually
Miller
you
can't
could
vote for himself. He can't vote for himself.
oh
So
see I
it's
said
not
this
Sean
at the
Miller.
beginning.
Yeah.
Ah, dang it. I knew that. Dang it. Because I was thinking of all the ways coaches would hate.
It's either Shaka Smart, Thad Matta, Patrick Ewing, Tony Stubblefield, Shaheen Holloway, or Mike Anderson. Or Kyle Neptune. Does Kyle Neptune voted for Xavier instead of Creighton, maybe?
Mm.
See, none of this is really that exciting because like who would be who do you want to like who do you
Yeah,
want to
see,
get
I can't
fired up
even think.
to get back?
I think I
You know?
went through that whole list in my head and I can't
I
even think
know.
of one. That's why I landed back on my man Sean Miller.
Mhm.
Um, of all those.
What about like I mean Marquette was kind of rolling and then um every time they kind of got on a heater, Creighton kind of ended it.
No,
Does
I don't
Shaka
think
feel
Shaq.
in some type of way?
I don't think Shaq is that dumb. I think he could be
If
Matt.
Niatawa was on this podcast, he would say Shaka because he's a Shaka hater.
He's a Shaq. I can see
Yeah.
why, but hey, I don't think Shaka is. a hater like I don't think Shaka's a hater at this point. I think Shaka definitely gets mad at like how games ended. He might have took some of that out on Creighton, but I think it actually. All right, let me throw a twist. What if it's Mike Anderson at St. John's because he's like, all right, if Creighton doesn't perform as well, that gives me a better chance of making the tournament this year. Oh, oh, yep. There we go. That's my answer.
Well, that's I see the logic there. I'm trying to think. There's nothing that's really that crazy. Um, I don't know.
Yeah, you gotta pick
I,
one
I
now.
honestly feel like Sean Miller is the best one, but it can't be him. You know
That's
what I
what I'm
mean? Like
saying.
it can't be him.
Yeah, I don't know.
Unless
Oh, here we go. Here we go.
unless Mac unless Mac voted for um Xavier instead of Nova, then then Sean Miller can be the vote for Nova and Dan Hurley can be the vote for Xavier. So like both of those guys can be the bad guy. You know what I mean?
Yeah, you're probably right.
So if you want to do it that way.
I don't want to believe that though. I don't
I
even
know I don't
want to
want to
believe.
either.
Nah, it's not as fun. That's not as
I
fun.
don't want to
Next
either,
topic. Next topic. That's not as
but that
fun.
at least gives you the two guys you want to be the haters because then the math would work
They
out.
are. I don't need you to tell me the two guys I think are the haters are the
Okay.
haters. I know
All
they're
right.
haters. So it's all right.
I just that's the way the math works out anyway. So
Wow.
um okay, so let's get to the preseason all league teams for the men before we do the
Oh
women.
God. Let's here we go.
I mean, all right, I'm gonna work my way up just to tee you up. So honorable mention, Cam Whitmore, the freshman from Villanova. He's also the freshman of the year, preseason freshman of the year. That's not really a surprise either. So he's honorable mention along with Chuck Harris from Butler and Baylor Shireman from Creighton. Second team All Big East is Arthur Kaluma and Ryan Nemhard from Creighton, the two sophomores, Kadari Richmond from Seton Hall, Caleb Daniels, who I don't know how many has eligibility left, but he does. Eric Dixon, both those guys from Villanova, and then Justin Moore. So the second team is basically two Creighton guys, three Nova guys, and then Kadari Richmond from Seton Hall. First team All Big East, Jack Nungy and Colby Jones from Xavier. I don't really, I mean, the Colby Jones thing is a little weird because he's kind of like I keep hearing that he's supposed to be a dude, and then he doesn't. It's not. It hasn't come yet, you know.
That
So
one kind of threw me. I can't lie to
yeah,
you.
Posh Alexander is a first teamer now. Jared Bynum from Providence is a first teamer. Ryan Kalkbrenner feels like a no brainer, and then the preseason player of the year is Adama Sanogo from UConn. So they finally crowned their big man that they've been hyping up for 2 years. And I feel like Jordan Scurry has some takes on that. Yeah. We both do, honestly. Like I'm not just singling you out, but I feel like you're the one
Yeah.
who's you're really heated about that one though. So I'll let you go first.
I just I don't understand what it is that everyone is seeing. Is it maybe because I guess all right, I've wrestled back and forth with this all day. And maybe, just maybe, I'm trying to play devil's advocate, like for why this was even a pick. Maybe they think because most valuable player, right? When we used to talk most valuable player, what was most valuable player? Like the player, if removed off their team, would have the most impact. At least that's the way I used to look at like most valuable player, right? So if you take said player off this team, they're just that much worse. Maybe that's how this was picked. Maybe because that's the only rationale I could think. But if we play the comparison game, if we're gonna but this is my problem. If we're gonna look at Adama Sanogo and anoint him Big East preseason player of the year, you gotta go look at everybody in his position. You have to. And he's not even the best one in his position. So this is why it bothers me. Because you can I get by I mean, I do, but I don't. This is why I'm going back and forth because even and the player I'm talking about that's better than him, if anyone needs me to say it, is Ryan Kalkbrenner. But even I think if you take Ryan Kalkbrenner's impact on Creighton every game out of there, it's still more. Just like full impact, it's still more. So I really need you to help me grasp this one. I really, because it's not even like I don't know what it was. Like I did they create that much buzz? Did they like do a MAGA campaign and like get everybody like did they do the whole
You
like
see a
Jedi
MAGA
mind
campaign?
trick? Yeah, did they do the whole Jedi mind trick and just trick people into like believing that he was supposed to be player of the year now? Like I'm just a little confused. Because if you look up Ryan
I d-
Kalkbrenner's impact versus Adama Sanogo's impact last year, Ryan Kalkbrenner's is better. Just overall impact. I'm not even going to go into the stats. I don't want to play the whole points per game thing. Like we don't even have to do that.
Well, why? I can. He wins still.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. We don't even have
Like
to do that because he wins that. So I don't. Why
so.
even waste my breath on that?
So last year, Sonogo was 14.8 points, 8.8 boards, 1.9 blocks, 2.3 turnovers, and he shot 50% from the field. Like seriously, he's a big man. Like that's not impressive.
Not at all.
50% from the field is a back to the basket big. And then he was 69% from the free throw line, roughly, you know. But Kalkbrenner was a little under him in points per game, 13.1 points, a little under him in rebounds, 7.7. But he had almost, his turnovers are almost in half, 1.4. His blocks are higher at 2.6. And he shot 74% from the free throw line as a 7-footer. And he was 65% from the field. So he shot like 15% better from the field, 5% better from the free throw line. Points and rebounds are in the same ballpark. Turnovers are Ryan Kalkbrenner turns the ball over less and blocks more shots. And obviously, he was the defensive player of the year in the Big East. Like, I don't understand at all why it's even a debate. You know what I mean? It feels like a clear 1-2, and Kalkbrenner deserves the one spot.
I'm gonna
So I
I'm
don't
gonna
know.
start
I
needing
don't know. I don't know what
explanations.
it is that allows that gets this conversation even started. You know what I mean?
I'm gonna start needing
I feel like
explanations.
Kalkbrenner's the dude who needs to be chased right now. Like, and it's just weird. I feel like he should be defending the title. You know what I mean? I feel like his
Yeah.
year last year was clearly more impactful.
And I just don't know which coaches did not see that. That's what I'm confused about.
Yeah, I know.
Like at what point in the year were you not like, oh, this is probably the best pro prospect and player with the most impact on his team this year will be
Mhm.
preseason player of the year next year. I don't
His
know, but I'm crazy. I just played Big East basketball, but hey, I'm crazy.
I don't know. It's weird too because I don't. There's no like unanimous designation on any of these teams. So I don't know if they left that part out or if there just wasn't any. That's the weird part too. I can't figure out if there literally was no unanimous players on these ballots and they were kind of all just all over the place and Sonogo just barely edged him because of name value and the UConn brand. But that's the coaches voting. They shouldn't be, you know, worrying about that. The one thing that I think maybe edged Sonogo out is like there's a lot of new coaches in the league. So how many new coaches were voting that didn't play that didn't coach haven't coached against either guy yet? You have Sean Miller at Xavier, Thad Matta at Butler. Um,
That's
what
not
else?
enough for me though. That's
Shaheen
not enough
Holloway
for
at
me
Seton
though. I'm sorry.
Hall.
That's awful. That's even worse. These coaches not you're not watching film of the last year. You don't want to see what you need to come in and correct. Like, did they not see that? I'm so confused because
No,
that's your job as a coach. So I'm just confused that where along the lines that's not a good enough excuse for me. Oh, they didn't watch enough of him. What? What? It's literally what you're getting paid now, a lot of money to do. That you need to go watch all the problems that your current team, had with Ryan Kalkbrenner last year, and all the problems they didn't have with Adama Sanogo shooting 50%. What are we even talking about? Like, I just really don't understand it. It doesn't make sense to me. I'm
I
sorry.
couldn't even get the sentence.
Um,
Like he shot 50% as a bit. He was 6'9". I mean, he's not really a 7-footer. So still. He's a big man, like
It's
50%.
not even
He's not like
better
he's
than
shooting
Angel
jumpers.
Delgado. Like we're talking about, what is the best thing he does in his game? Like what do you? And I'm not trying to be a hater. I'm not trying to be on hater time. But what is? Because I can clearly tell you what Ryan Kalkbrenner is the best at. What is
Yeah, I guess.
Adama Sanogo the best at?
I mean, he's a physical force, like that's for sure. So like,
Who?
the closer you get him to the basket is a problem. But yeah, I would agree with you. He's like rebounding is probably the first thing on my mind when I think of him. Like keep him off the glass.
Who? Okay, right. And this is another thing that factors into it, right? When we talk about Ryan Kalkbrenner, we're always talking about the point guard of the Creighton offense because, like, to the same token, Ryan Kalkbrenner is one who obviously the closer to the basket he is, better he is, right? Who do you count on to deliver your big the basketball as close to the basket as possible? Your point guard. Who am I supposed to believe on this UConn roster? Who is like, yeah, my goal this year is to
I
try to get
mean,
as many assists as I can to my man Snogo. Who am I supposed to believe is like, yeah, let me throw him lobs in this offense? Who?
I know who it's supposed to be according to them.
Right,
I just
right.
don't believe it yet because it's not. It hasn't been there. Like RJ Cole's gone, James Bouknight's gone, Tyler Polly and shoot, what's the guy's name that DJ bodied up all the time? Why can't I think of it? Tyrese Martin, he's gone.
Hmm.
I don't know, dude.
Yeah.
I don't know.
So we're left with more questions. This is
I'm
great.
I was surprised. I mean, I was surprised and I wasn't. Like I know Sanogo's getting a lot of love. I just didn't know. I just didn't think it was the coaches fueling it because that's kind of it makes it something's weird to me because I don't know where the hype is coming from because I don't get why the media hypes the guy because he's pretty inconsistent, and I mean certainly not up to the level that Kalkbrenner is consistent. I guess to be fair, because he's a stud for sure. I think he should be first team All Big East. Like he's that type of impact player. Um, I just don't know why Kalkbrenner doesn't get the same level of acclaim that he does. And maybe it's the coaches feeding the media members that narrative, and it just kind of runs away with that. And for some reason, they just look at Adama Sanogo on film and go, "Jesus, that's a nightmare." And maybe they don't feel that way about Kalkbrenner, but to
I
me,
think it.
Kalkbrenner's. I think that you when you watch their strengths and you break them down, and then you watch them head to head, I just don't. Kalkbrenner's better. Period. There's not. I don't.
Period.
It's. I'm not saying that Sanogo can't surpass him or can't have a better year than him. I just don't. We haven't seen it yet. So if I'm betting on, who's the horse to back in terms of giving that preseason nod to, Kalkbrenner's earned it. It's earned already. He's already done the work. He's already a better player. So until further notice, Kalkbrenner should be preseason player of the year, not Adama Sanogo.
And there you
Period.
have it. And there you have it.
So that's all the ranting I have for the men's side. I guess we'll get to this in I know a lot of people asked about this, so we'll get to this in the questions. Let's move to the women's side real quick. Break that down. If I can pull it up here. So yeah, no surprise at the top, even without Paige Beckers this year. UConn is the unanimous number one in the preseason poll. Um, Creighton is two. Villanova is three. DePaul and Seton Hall are tied for fourth. Marquette's sixth. St. John's is seventh. Providence eighth. Butler and Georgetown are tied for ninth, and then Xavier is coming in last. Um, so the thing, nothing. I guess the last four teams aren't a shocker because that's kind of like what where they've been in the league. I think the thing that maybe is a little bit surprising is that Butler was atrocious last year, almost Georgetown on the men's side level bad, but they're not in last place. So I think they hired a new coach, Austin Parkinson from IUPUI. He took them to the NCAA tournament last year with Macy Williams. So he's their new coach. So I think they're getting a little bit of a bump from that. Um, and then Xavier with Mel Moore, I think in year four, they have not really done anything and they lost their best players to transfer. So Xavier got kicked to the cellar. And I think it's fair. I mean, when you look on paper and then you look at the coaching resumes of both teams, Butler probably deserves to be above Xavier. And then Georgetown and Providence also belong in that bottom group as well. St. John's seventh. That's kind of where they were last year. So it's hard to jump them into the top six because the top six have kind of uh earned their places in the top half of the league. Because when you think about the top six, that's your buys in the Big East tournament, right? Like, so 7 through 11 is who plays those opening night games. So the top six have earned that. I think I'm a little bit surprised to a degree that Seton Hall and DePaul are tied. I'm not surprised Marquette's six because they lost, Lauren Van Clunen and oh god, what's her first name? McLaughlin. I want to say, yeah, I'm not even gonna say her first name, so I don't know it. But she's their sharpshooter, so they really only have like Jordan King back, who is good. Um, so six works out fine for Marquette. I think they have something to prove still. But Seton Hall lost, Andre Espinosa Hunter, I mean, she was one of their top scorers, and they lost Maya Jackson, who was one of their top 3-point shooters. They still have Lauren Park Lane, who's one of the best point guards in the country, and Sydney Cooks, who's a really good big. And then they came out, they were good in the NIT last year and in the second half of the year after they got out of the COVID pauses. So maybe they use that as a launching pad. They beat Creighton in the Big East tournament. They were the last team to beat Creighton before South Carolina last year. And they didn't lose. They lost to Villanova, who was really good, and they lost to South Dakota State on the road in the NIT finals. And they didn't just I mean they got housed by South Dakota State. Um, so I don't know. I think I'm a little surprised that DePaul they bring back Anissa Morrow, who was the National Freshman of the Year. So I felt like, I don't know, DePaul was the fourth best team in the league. To me, I'm surprised that Seton Hall, with what they lost, is tied with them. So that's a little bit of a surprise. And then I'm not surprised Villanova's three and Creighton is two. Creighton went further in the NCAA tournament last year. They bring back a large core of that. And then Villanova lost Leora Garzone, who was, I think, um, co-most improved player with Lauren Jensen last year. So they bring back Maddie Segrist, who was the player of the year, and she's the preseason player of the year again. But I think they're three and Creighton's two. The thing that's surprising a little bit is obviously UConn got the 10 first place votes from the other coaches, but Villanova got the other one. So Gino gave his I can't vote for myself vote to the Villanova team. That in fairness, they did beat UConn last year. A very shorthanded UConn team, I'll say that. They did beat that UConn team last year. So maybe that's where the logic comes from Gino. He's just kind of throwing like, hey, you guys beat us last year, way to go. Even though we housed you in the finals when we rematched, I'll give you guys that respect. Other than that, there's really no argument, I don't think, for giving Villanova the first place vote that he can't give himself. So it's not a huge disrespect card that Creighton can play, but it's a disrespect card. Like they didn't get the other first place vote.
I definitely think it's a disrespect card, and Gino's a smart guy, so I would have expected him to look more at kind of what happened and the NCAA tournament big thing we all play for there at the end of the season. But hey, guess not. But yeah, no, we can throw some like passive aggressive energy in there, Gino. Creighton girls are all there for it, so we're good.
And we know they're about it.
That
So
we know they're about it. So yeah, no, all good. Add more fuel to that fire. Why don't you? We don't need
sure.
as if they needed more. As if they needed more.
The thing about UConn though is they don't really sweat anybody, so I don't think he cares. I'm not even sure he thought this was going to be much of a talking point, and I didn't really hear it at all today. So maybe it's not because I just thought, oh, when you're doing the match, you're like, oh, Creighton was a complete like Creighton got
No.
um Creighton got 9 second place votes and 1 third place vote, and the 1 third place vote was clearly Gino because just that's the way the math works out. So I just found it a little interesting because the rest of the league was like, oh yeah, Creighton's clearly two because they have X, Y, and Z back from Elite Eight. Um, but Gino's like, nope, Nova.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I don't know if he's like if he's trying to start something or if he's trying to piss Creighton off or like take a shot or something like that. Because he's not known to not do that, right? Like
No, usually
he's very
usually he's
brave.
pretty, yeah.
Yeah,
Usually I would
yeah,
guess Gino's, very like well-informed guy, like
yeah.
kind of
And
trying to take
he's
everything
very
in.
intentional. Yeah,
Yeah, very intentional with what he's doing. But if we're gonna talk he's intentional, then this was clearly for some
yeah.
reason that
Like
you and I both don't understand, but we do at the same time. So
yeah. He wants that smoke. I guess he wants Creighton to come in with that like something to prove.
yeah,
Maybe.
yeah, yeah. I do
Yeah.
too. So
So
that's great, actually.
yeah,
That's great.
Auckland's like
It works out
absolutely.
for us. Like I can't wait. I can't
Yeah.
wait.
So the way the women do it, they just have one giant all conference team. They don't do second teams. They do honorable mention. We'll get to that in a second because that's where I have a bone to pick.
Yeah. I also
Um,
have one.
so Maddie Siegrist was the preseason player of the year. No shock there. She's the reigning player of the year in the conference last year. So with Paige Becker's hurt and out for the season, it makes sense that Maddie would be the preseason pick. Honestly, I think Maddie would have earned preseason pick anyway, even if Paige were healthy, but that probably would have been a long shot. The freshman of the year is Ayanna Patterson, freak athlete, like just the next. She's probably going to be dunking a few times, so don't be surprised.
There we go.
Yeah, she's the freshman of the year from UConn. Then all Big East goes Caroline Ducharme, Aaliyah Edwards, AZ Fudd, all from UConn. AZ Fudd was unanimous. And then from Creighton, you have Lauren Jensen and Emma Ronsick. Ronsick was unanimous. You have Anissa Morrow from DePaul, the reigning national freshman of the year. She was a unanimous pick. Jordan King from Marquette, Janae Crooms from Providence, Deja Bailey from St. John's, a little bit of a surprise there. Sydney Cooks from Seton Hall, and then Lauren Park Lane from Seton Hall as well. And she was a unanimous pick. And then the honorable mention was Dorka Uhas from UConn and Morgan Maly from Creighton. Um, so Morgan Maly is the reigning sixth woman of the year in the Big East. And I know it's probably like a tough sell to say Creighton's got all three first teamers, right?
Right.
But I just think there's a few players on that first team list that Morgan Maly is better than and will prove she's better than. And
Yeah.
honestly, I wouldn't be surprised if she's so productive this year that she finds herself in the player of the year conversation if Creighton is as good as we think they're going to be as well. So yeah, I think the Big East is sleeping on Morgan Maly right now.
I completely
By
agree.
putting her honorable mention, I think that's like I think they might have made a mistake there.
I completely agree, especially if you're only going to have the all team situation the way that they do.
Yeah, just
I
one team.
think,
Yeah.
yeah, I think it's hard. Uh, it was hard for them probably because with UConn and Creighton, probably both. Like the way I went back looking at it, I think they both could probably have three players or so on there. But I think the way that Creighton finished out the season last year, uh, I'd build more of a case for Morgan. But
Like
hey, hey,
like
that's
let's just be
I'm
yeah,
biased.
I'm just gonna be 100% like she's better than how about this? She's for sure better. I don't want to disrespect any UConn players because like they're good. Okay, so
Yeah.
we'll give them their flowers. Even though I think she might be better than a couple of the ones that are on the list.
Yep.
Anyway,
There we go. There we go. That's all we had to say. Because I'm
okay.
as long as we
All right.
agree on that, that's how
But
I felt.
Jordan King, Janae Crooms, Kadeja Bailey, and Sydney Cooks are not better than Morgan Molly. No,
Right.
they're not.
Right.
They're not.
Okay,
But
we
they're all
agree on
first
this. I'm
teamers.
glad we didn't talk about this one either, so we agree on
Yeah.
this. I'm glad. I'm glad
So
you said
I
it.
mean, and I honestly like when I think of Bailey, Crooms, and King, like even if you want to say Cooks put up numbers last year, which she did, and she was a first
Right.
teamer last year, so
Yeah.
respect. You know what I mean? So even if you want to like say, okay, let's give her flowers from last year, fine. So keep Cooks on the list. I'm cool with that. I'm cool
Hmm.
with Seton Hall because Cooks and Park Lane were all Big East last year. So fine, I'll translate that over.
Right.
But Bailey, Crooms, and King, those three were not better than Morgan Molly last year. You know what I mean? Especially when you
Right.
watch what Morgan did in the NCAA tournament, and then
Yeah.
you factor in that that was basically her first full year because all she had was the COVID freshman year, and then last year was basically half of a freshman season, and then she was a sophomore after that in terms of games played and reps had in games. So Morgan Maly is essentially, yeah, I just don't. They're not better than her. No way.
I'm ready for the silent killer, man. I'm
She's
ready for the
not
silent killer.
seriously,
The
dude.
quiet
I
killer.
mean,
Excuse me, I
but
misspoke. I'm
quiet
ready for the
killer,
quiet
yeah,
killer.
yeah. Like the Big East is gonna feel her for this one. I think.
Oh, they
I think
definitely
you know
gonna
what I
feel
mean.
her. I think
So
she's gonna have that first team. Like, I don't know Morgan, so I'm not saying anything crazy here. But
yeah, but
I have a
her.
feeling she's the type, but I know
Yeah.
players like her.
Hmm.
And I have a good
Like you don't
feeling
know her, but you know
she
her. You know what I'm
just
saying? Yeah.
printed out y'all stupid little list of your first team, whatever you want to call it, all team. And I have a feeling she's got that shit on her wall in her dorm or apartment, wherever
Yeah.
she may live. And she's really not happy with it. So y'all go feel her. Y'all go feel her.
Yeah, you're gonna feel her. You know what? I'm glad I have not recorded my preseason podcast with her yet, and I'm kind of glad because
Oh, I'm glad. Oh, I can't wait.
yeah,
I can't wait for that one.
um,
I'm tuned in. I'm tuned
yeah.
in.
So yeah, I just don't. I think I don't know, man. I just think that's disrespectful.
I
Because
know it's
and the
so
other thing that
cool.
people don't know about her yet this year is like there, she's got handles now. So she's got like in gym range already, like that lefty number that she's like lefty Steph with that number 30 jersey. Like,
Yeah.
but she's got some handles now, you know what I mean? Like she's gonna be saucing people up and like banging threes in their eyes. Like there were a couple times I've already seen a couple times in practice, like where they're going up against the guy squad, and she's like, you know, retreat dribble through the leg, step back cash. Like that's nasty stuff, you know what I mean? That's people don't know that that's coming. I think they just
Yeah.
assume that she's a catch and shoot, a catch and shoot spot up kid, and like if she gets on a heater, she can fill it up. But
I'm
just stay
excited for
close and keep a hand
everybody.
up.
I'm excited for everyone to be surprised at what we're saying here as if it
Yeah,
wasn't just destined to happen. But
right. So
what do we know, right? What do we know?
that's what I mean, yeah. I
I feel
that
like a
was the one
lot.
thing that everything else looked normal to me until I saw that. And so I go,
Yeah.
ooh, you got Morgan honorable mention. Okay, let me check out this list real quick. Oh wait, okay, yeah, Ducharme, fine. She had a good year last year. Aaliyah Edwards, okay, cool, veteran. Played in some big games. It's a key piece for UConn. AZ Fudd, yeah, she's got that that Steph Curry, um, popularity. She's a sniper, and a sophomore. So you figure if she's healthy, cool. Lauren Jensen and Morantic, yeah, for sure. They were studs last year. They were all Big East last year. They deserve it. Anissa Morrow, sure. National Freshman of the Year. Cool. Lauren Park Lane, again, one of the best point guards in the country. Cool. All right. Jordan King, what? Janae Crooms, huh? Deja Bailey, what? Sydney Cooks, what? And that's what you got
Oh,
for it. And then you're like, oh yeah, honorable mention Morgan Maly, but those four get a slot. Like, that's not really earned there. So I guess we'll find out. But yeah, that was my qualm from the women's side was like, ooh, I don't know if you guys know what you just unleashed there, but I guarantee she's paying attention. What do we want to come back to? I got lost track. Oh, should we go to questions now?
oh God.
Yeah,
Yeah. I saw
because we
some of those.
we did the men's side, the women's side. Yep. Let's see what people got. Okay. Let's lead off with let's lead off with a legend. Dr. Carroll, your former professor, former journalism prof. Yeah.
Oh, legend
Um
indeed. Legend indeed. Shout
Dr.
out
Carroll
Dr.
wants to know.
Zugner.
Yeah.
Dr.
Shout out.
Zugner. Put some respect on her name, Dr. Zugner.
Oh, I did. I put the doctor in there. I'm not
All
even
right,
thinking
cool.
about it. Wondering why Kaluma is second team. What do you think, Jordan? Should he have been first team?
I
So who are you replacing? Remember, you can't do this without replacing someone.
I wondered the same thing, Dr. Zuger. I
All
did.
right, so
On
here's the
why
first team. So it's the first team is Kalkbrenner, Bynum, Tosh, Colby, Nunji. Dude, yeah, I can see already.
Colby. I
Yep,
already got you, Colby. I
yeah.
mean, like to be honest, take Colby's spot. It's also weird. Who else on that besides Cal? Who else on that first list is on the
I
projected
mean, shoot,
first round
I
draft
think
board?
Kaluma's better than Sonogo.
Yeah, no.
I'm
So
just
who else
I'm
on
just
that?
being 100% honest with you.
Is Sanogo on the draft board, first round draft board? I know it's way too early season draft
I
boards.
doubt it. Do you think he would be?
Yeah. Nope, but the only players I saw on it, I don't know the last time you checked was, but
Yeah.
me personally, last time I checked the NBA first round mock draft,
Hmm.
uh, I saw Kalkbrenner and Arthur Kaluma, but hey, I
Yeah.
guess Colby Jones.
I guess Posh probably deserves some love. So we'll keep Posh on there. Hulkbrenner definitely deserves to be on there.
Yeah, see, I don't even want. We'll
Does
get into this on a later.
Is Jared
We're gonna
Bynum
get
a
into
first
this
team
on.
all Big East?
I don't want to do this right now.
Is Jared Bynum
Mainly
first
because
team all Big East to you?
I don't think Posh or him are. I mean, if we're really gonna
Oh,
get into it.
oh, you're not
I
with me
don't
on the
want to get
Posh one,
into it
huh?
now.
You
I
didn't
don't
want
want to get
to.
into it
Okay,
now. No, I don't think Posh is either. I think defensively, like if you did an all defensive first team, like that'd be cool. But
I forgot.
offensively,
I
really?
forgot why. Yeah, well, let me look up what. I feel like Jared Bynum was all right, but I don't know about first team all Big East. Let's see what I missed here. So from the start of Big East play on last year, yeah, 43%. I just have 43% 3-point shooter, average 14 points, 4 assists. All right, that's probably first team all league. Fair enough. Tat tip to Jared Bynum. He put up numbers on a good team. Respect. All right, so Jared Bynum, sure. Ryan Kalkbrenner, definitely. Jack Nungy, I think, deserves it. But yeah, honestly, I'd have Kaluma ranked ahead of Sanogo, Jones, and Posh.
Same. And
I would
Bynum
definitely have, yeah.
in my head.
I wouldn't. I'd give Bynum some love. Bynum put up some good numbers last year. He was a good performer. He performed well in Big East play.
No, he's their best player for sure. But
Yeah, I'll give him some love. Plus, Kaluma wasn't, like from an efficiency standpoint, Kaluma wasn't there last year. You know what I mean? He was pretty
yeah,
inefficient.
yeah.
Um, he came on strong. Like he was good in the.
That's the
He
part I
was good.
wasn't gonna
He
say.
was good
So
in the game against UConn at home. He was good in that. He was good against Providence in the Big East tournament. Yeah, he almost had a double double against Nova in the Big East title game. He was good against Kansas. He was great against Kansas. Honestly, it was his best game of the year. So yeah, I don't know. I'd put him above. I'd put him above Colby Jones for sure, 100%. Like no argument there at all. I would definitely put him above Colby. So yeah,
I don't know how that happened, but
so yeah,
wow.
to that question, yeah, a little bit of surprise that Gloom was second team. A little bit. Um. Oh yeah, how do you feel about the 11-player first team with the all Big East on the women's side? That was another one we got.
Uh,
Do you care about that at all?
yeah. I mean, I don't think I've thought too much into it. I don't think what I think matters. I think I'd be interested to hear what the players actually think and if they like it. What do you know from like talking to them? How do they feel about it?
I have literally never asked anybody about that ever, so I don't know.
Well, just
Media,
gave you a new
media, media,
question.
media complains about it a lot, though. I know that, especially national media guys, for some reason. So I don't know. I don't really have that much of a beef with it. Like I said,
Yeah.
my beef with that list is more of who's not on it than
Yeah.
than how many
I
players are.
I agree. I actually think it should
So
be. I think if I can give my 2 cents, I think it should just be expanded. I don't think there's any. I don't know.
yeah.
I don't know. I have to. I can't actually can't even say that. I don't. My opinion means nothing on this
I mean,
until I actually
honestly, like
talk
if
to
you tell
somebody
me
affected by it.
if you just ask me like who I think all Big East should be in on the women's side, I could probably if I'm crossing off names, I definitely think AZ belongs. I definitely think Lauren Jensen and Emma Ronsick belong. Anissa Morrow for sure. So that's five, four. That's four players. Aaliyah Edwards belongs. That's five. Lauren Park Lane belongs. That's six. Maddie Segrist as the player of the year. That's seven. And then, yeah, I guess Caroline Ducharme. I don't know. I feel like, again, she's going to be good, and she was good at times last year. I think she was inconsistent, but if you're just projecting out what a freshman's going to turn into based on how she performed at certain points last year, that's fair. So eight. And then honestly, like after that, if you're making me pick out of the rest of the league, I kind of just have Morgan. So I only have nine players that belong on it in first place. So that's what to go back to what we just talked about two
Mm,
topics ago. Not only am I surprised that Morgan's not on it, I'm surprised that the list is as long as it is and Morgan's not on
yeah,
it still. You know what I mean? Because I would have cut it off shorter and had Morgan on it.
yeah,
So that's the surprise to me.
I'll
It's
get
like there's
down with
players
that.
above her. So I think the list is too big because not just because of a certain number, but because there's players on the list who I don't think are first team all or that are all Big East caliber players.
I'll agree
You know
with
what I
you.
mean? That's just my opinion. And I've named them already, so they're out there.
Yeah,
Next question. I know the season hasn't even started yet, but obviously to keep the train rolling beyond this year, this is what I love about Creighton fans. Timeout, real quick, is we're like on the cusp of not only just on the men's side, we're on the cusp of like two of the most hyped seasons in Creighton basketball history, both on the men's and women's side. And then we're already getting questions about like sustainability in the future. Like, hold up, let them. I thought we were supposed to enjoy the ride, right? They haven't. They're supposed to be good this year. Like, let's let them do that first. That's what I love about Creighton fans, though. Is they're always like an eye to the future, real quick. So, anyway, that's what that question made me think of before I read the rest
you're
of it. But
optimists like me. It's terrific.
that's
That's
not
why
the
we
word
got
I would
along
use.
so well.
They're yeah, that's not at all what they are. To keep the train rolling beyond this year, CU will need to recruit well. I haven't seen much recently, but wonder if you think Mac will be able to keep stocking the shelves. Wins beget wins, and recruits. Right. I don't know. Is there a reason to doubt Mac's ability to acquire talent at this point?
You tell me how the past 8 years of your life, man. You tell me
Um,
how have they been?
they're
Like it's
well,
roller
like
coaster. I get it. Like you can throw that word out there, but how have they been in terms
sure,
of recruits? In
yeah.
terms
I
of
think in
recruits,
terms of talent, influx, it's been an ascent. There
enough
has not
said.
been a roll. I'm still waiting for
Enough
the roller
said.
coaster to come. I'm still waiting for the ride to come down. So yeah.
Enough said. The fact that we can get the Baylor Charlemans of this like transfer portal, the fact that I think we can keep the core that we have now tells you all you need to know going forward.
Yeah, dude. I remember watching Creighton teams growing up where like you'd be the starting two guard. You were good. You were that good. Like, you know what I
Yeah,
mean?
no shit. Why'd you think I wanted to go there?
That's what
What?
I'm
Like,
just saying. Like, if you're talking about like what have I seen the last few years? Well, Jordan Scurry was a walk on, and I remember watching teams where he would be like all NBC. So
yeah,
yeah,
I know. I was born too late. I should have been Missouri
should
Valley
yeah. You
walk
just
on. I would have
I
been
know.
that dude. But hey, probably would have got Scally before I got there at that point.
Yeah, no, school would have been paid for you for sure, 100%.
I mean, it
At
was
the
just one
very
year. Only had to pay for 1 year. Hey, hey,
that's
I'll
true.
say
That's
that.
true. Yeah, you got yours.
Shout out to Creighton University.
Where's our next question at? Oh, Johnny Atawa chimes in. Jay Wright has retired, and now Creighton's finally getting some respect from the Big East coaches. Coincidence? Because remember we talked about this a lot last year. Like Creighton always gets like you got to prove it, Creighton. You know, besides despite Greg McDermott constantly proving it year in year out. Like was Jay Wright the one? Was Jay Wright the ultimate hater this whole time?
Yeah, I mean, it makes it increasingly difficult when you got a coach with 3 national championships, always vouching for a first place spot. Very difficult. But hey, I mean, glad to see that they're not that crazy to like actually give him his respect. And I like to think in my heart of hearts that even if the team wasn't as stacked as this year, going off his reputation, it would have still been this way. But I mean, that's a crazy hypothetical, but still, I think
No, it's not that crazy. We
no
know better.
coincidence there.
We know better.
Yeah, we know better. We
We've
know
seen it.
better, but I guess just rest of whoever has these votes don't.
I will say, in terms of coincidences, the day before the pandemic ended the whole world for a little bit, Jay did tell me that he voted for Kevin Willard the year you guys won the Big East title. So maybe
That's
there is something
disgusting.
to it. That's
Disgusting.
his
Absolutely. Don't
his
tell me that.
excuse. His excuse was that he turned in his ballot like after Seton Hall worked him over in Philly. I think was the excuse because Seton Hall beat them at Wells Fargo, and then I think that's like around the time he turned in his
All
ballot.
right, we're gonna have to do.
So
All right.
you guys got on a
So
roll and won the league, and I think he regretted his decision after that because
here's my problem then.
he seemed like he regretted his choice, but I still was like, you still voted for Willard. And I was like, yeah, I just I thought they were gonna finish it off. They beat us at in Philly, and I was like,
We're
oh,
gonna
all
have to
right.
figure out something. You gotta help me out because I need to like work on this criteria of voting and when you can turn your ballot in. That's a wild
Yeah,
time to be able to turn your ballot in.
that was a revealing year to me. That was the year I realized you can turn it in like
You can turn your ballot
five
in just like
games early. Yeah,
that's wild to me.
whenever you
No, that's
I
just
know.
not acceptable.
I
Like that's
know.
not I don't I
I,
can't no no
I
no.
don't know what to tell you. I was surprised to find that out too. Because
I'm gonna have to get
I went up there to talk to him about Mac,
I'm
and
gonna
what he
have to
thought of
get
the job that Mac did this year. And he just openly admitted that he voted for Willard. And I go, what? But they won the league and
nah.
swept. They won the league and, and went 3-1 against you guys. He goes, yeah, I know. I voted for Willard like early, like end of like early
See,
February or
these are
something
just
like that.
poor excuses to me. Like these are poor. It's a poor excuse.
You think he was
Your
lying? Do you think he
job
was?
as a he had to be
Because
covering
I
for
couldn't. Because that
something.
was the year we
Like
couldn't figure out why Tyshawn didn't get Player of the Year either. Because I don't Miles
there's a
Powell. I
lot
don't.
of things,
Yeah.
but it's probably you had to turn it in before the
Yeah.
first Big East game for play. Like,
Right.
come on, man.
Because like, did
We
everybody
got.
turn in? Did everybody
I'm
vote for
hiring
Romaro Gill before Seton Hall and Creighton even played? Because you guys didn't play till
Amaro
late that
Gill.
year. Remember?
Amaro
So
Gill.
Tyshawn
Like
probably didn't get
think
credit
about how
for.
that's gonna live in history. Think about how that's gonna just live in the history books.
I've said that a lot. That the Miles
Bonehead,
Powell. Yeah.
bonehead votes.
Yeah. Those individual awards are not going to age well. When you look at the numbers on paper, you're like, why? It's not going to go well, especially when you compare it to years past. So yeah, we've talked about that a lot though. But yeah, I don't know. It does seem it's a little bit of a coincidence, right? Because maybe Jay was the ultimate Creighton hater this whole time because Creighton's had the most success against him one on one, right?
Mm. Nah, but he was never a hater though. Like, cause even from,
Maybe he's just a
like,
good
I
liar,
mean,
dude. You
ooh,
know, maybe he's like, I'm gonna
ooh,
say this, but I'm really gonna do that. You know,
valid,
so you don't know.
valid.
Maybe
It's
he's still
probably
feeling some type of way from the Rocky Bomb night. Like they
he
got
could
embarrassed.
be
They were all over Sports Center getting bombed on. It was a Gus game.
that could be hurting him. There could be
Yeah,
a lot of factors there. Yeah.
you know what
Now
I'm
now that I'm
saying?
thinking of it,
It could be
okay,
personal. It could be personal.
okay,
So yeah,
okay. You're on to something. You're on to something.
I mean, John brought it up, so I'm just yeah, maybe. Let's see. Wilbur has a couple.
Yeah,
He has
Wilbur had
three.
a few. Maybe just
Yeah.
pick Wilbur's best one because
Oh,
Wilbur had a few.
Wilbur's best one. What's Wilbur's best one? Let
Love
me
you,
see.
Wilbur.
Should DePaul hang a banner anytime they are not selected dead last? Well,
No,
they were selected dead last this year, so hard to answer that
no,
question.
no.
Maryland replaced Mark Turgeon with Mark Turgeon 2.0 as Kevin Willard already on the.
Hell yeah. Hell yeah, he's on that hot seat.
Big East coach you would least like to grab a drink with, and why is the answer Wojo? So I'm not sure if Wilbur knows this, but Wojo got fired like 2 years
I think
ago.
Wilbur might be living in like a time capsule somewhere. I'm
Think
not
so?
sure. But
Yeah.
like if I'll take the question though. And the
Okay. Yeah.
question is
Yeah.
Sean Miller,
Least
just because I
likely to
don't
grab a drink with.
Sean Miller, because I just like don't want to be an accomplice or anything. I don't know what that conversation might be like. So yeah, no, I'm good. I'm actually just I'm gonna have my beer by myself.
I did not know you were going there with it.
And I don't want to be sweat on.
Who would I choose? I feel like there's a lot of coaches that I just like wouldn't be able to relate to. Like it would be a boring time. But the one I definitely would not have a good time with is probably Danny Hurley. I just know those types. Like my family,
Yeah, I'm
my
from
dad,
here,
my
so
dad, my dad was all you know what I'm talking about.
I'm just from here,
Yeah,
so
my dad's family was all East Coast, and I know how like, you know, loud and right they all think they are. So it's just like I know we would fight. I just know it.
yeah, no, Dan Hurley and I would have a great time. Let me have a beer with that man. I swear to God, we'd have a great time. I could have my. This is how I know, but Hurley and I would have a great time, mainly because like I would have a great time with one, the whole family, and then two, because I could have my
Whole
critiques of
fucking
him on the.
family,
But
Bobby
dude,
too.
oh yeah, I could have my critiques of all of them on the court, off the court, all of it. But I'd bring them up. You know me, I'm a straight shooter. I'd bring that shit up over a beer, and they'd eat it up. They'd eat it up. They'd
They'd
eat it
eat
up.
you. They may eat you up.
No, no, they'd eat it up. Because I
Okay.
just I come back at them with so much stuff that they wouldn't be ready for. So yeah, I got a good memory, man. Don't worry.
Okay. Yeah, I just you're the only East Coast person I mesh with, so and I think it's because you got some Midwest like in you now after
I do. I miss it.
experiencing
I
Omaha.
miss it
So
so much. You guys are so nice. Everyone's so mean here. I'm just so used to it.
they are
It's like
so
such a
mean.
pro. Just
They
we're
are.
just mean by nature. Like we're
Yeah.
really, really mean. Like it's really a
It-
mean place. Like it's
It's
like
not even
in
like it's not
passing is
you know
just
what?
mean.
I won't even I'll even be nice about it. I don't think everyone out there is mean. I just think you're always ready to be mean. Like I think
Correct.
it's an easy
Correct.
trigger. You know what I mean? It's an easy
Oh
flip
yeah.
it's an easy switch to flip for you. Like
Yeah.
you can access it pretty easily. So
100%.
that's kind of what it is.
100%.
Um last question. This is from Jacob Padilla, our buddy. Choosing threes to 21. What's the score if Jordan were to play one-on-one against each of the Big East Media Day attendees from Creighton? Oh shit. So Arthur Kaluma, Ryan Nemhard, and Ryan Kalkbrenner.
Oh shit.
Do I get to answer?
Oh, you go first, cause damn.
Oh,
Yeah, you go
what's
first.
the score if you play one
Is
on
you
one
said
against each of them?
twos and threes?
Yeah, that
Oh
might help you.
shit.
That
Like
might help you a little
oh,
bit.
that would definitely help me. What do you mean? It's the only thing that's gonna save me.
I know.
Oh my
uh,
God.
okay.
What?
Well, you might get a couple on Kalkbrenner, but I'm not giving you a dub over the Big East Defensive Player of the Year.
No.
And he
I'll
can
score.
guard guards too. Like that's not he doesn't sweat that. Like he can handle dudes on the perimeter. So, um, yeah, I'm gonna go with 21-9 against Kalkbrenner. I think he'll hit three threes and that's it.
I disagree. See,
Kalkbrenner
I'll have double digits. So I'll have at least 11. I'll probably hit a pull up
against
because
the
like
Big East DPOY.
yeah, because I'm like if I'm hitting three threes in a row, he's gonna have to respect the
It's
three at
not in
some
a
point, and
row.
I'm
It's like
stop. Or not in a row. Either way. If I'm hitting three threes in that game, at
you're not
some point, he's gonna have to bite on the three, and I'm gonna get a one dribble pull up or a layup, and so that's a two. So I'll have 11.
you're not getting any layups against Kalkbrenner. None.
Yep. So then I'll get a one dribble
No.
pull up. One.
One dribble.
One singular. That see,
Anything.
I was gonna rock with you. That was the game I was gonna say I was gonna score the most points in because you know my problem. Yeah, yeah. All right, go ahead. You finish. You finish. You go ahead. You're on this
I was gonna.
tangent. You might as
Well,
well
I
finish
mean,
it.
this is only
You
gonna get
might as
better
well
then.
finish it.
I'm gonna, but I mean, yeah, no. Um, I think you and Nemhard would be a good back and forth actually. So dude, I don't know. Maybe you could. I think on a good day you could beat Nemhard one on one. Like if we're
If I
talking like
take it to
best,
the post, if I take it to the
yeah,
post,
I think like yeah, because he's a lot. I think he's a lot smaller than you. I don't know about a lot smaller than you, but
I
you're
just don't
stronger.
know. I just don't
I'm
know if
trying to
I
like
could
get. Can
stay.
you lean closer to
I
the
just don't
camera?
know
So let me see how
how.
strong you still are. Because you were strong in
I just
college.
don't.
How strong? You were
I
like
just don't
Desmond
know. I'm still
Bain
there. I'm still
doppelganger.
there. I'm still
Are you
there.
still?
Speaking of, He's on my fantasy basketball team.
I
Don't
never.
you think it would have been just so great for me if I went to college like 2 years later after the Jack light skin shooter became a thing? Like
Oh yeah, yeah.
I
I
was
think
because
yeah. Could
mind
you
you,
have?
when we played him at TCU in the NIT, when we
You.
played Desmond Bain, and I got to
Mm-hmm.
see it up close and personal, my dumb ass was like, oh, like I don't see it. Whatever, this dude's overrated. Like, what do you mean? Like he's supposed to be like that? Like what? And then I
Slight
quickly realized
miscalculation.
upon arriving to the Memphis Grizzlies that I was very, very wrong.
Yeah,
Very,
you were a
very
little.
underrated, actually. Very,
Yeah,
very underrated.
super underrated.
And I actually missed, yeah, super underrated. And I completely missed my calling of the Jack Shooters of America in that regard. So yeah, I
I
was
never.
just a
I don't know if I ever thought
couple
about
years
it when you were
early.
playing, but there's definitely like I can find some pictures of you where I could make an argument that like you're his twin. You know what I mean? Because you used to be pretty jacked,
Yeah,
especially early in your career.
I get this,
Especially
dude.
early
I
in your
get
career,
this shit all the
you were
time.
super jacked. Like you were like a running back. You were built.
When I was like, yeah, because dude, I came into college huge. I came into
Yeah,
college.
before you
My
before
playing weight, by the
yeah,
way, for those
yeah.
for those who care, which is no one, my playing weight, I came into college 207, like ripped, like just working
Yeah.
out at home, trying to prepare
Mhm.
for college basketball. What I should have done is just run. I should have
Yep.
just ran. I shouldn't have lifted a single weight because
Nope.
then my dumb ass came in and my playing weight, for any of those who care, was always between 190 and 197. The heaviest I ever was at Creighton was the day I stepped on campus at 207. I got back up to at my senior year. I was in the best shape of my literal life. This is my body by Jeremy, like senior year, and that was like between I would fluctuate because I drink beer, so like 198 to like 205. So like that was like where I like would stay.
Uh-huh.
But realistically, it was like that was the heaviest I ever weighed in college is
Okay.
207. I'll always remember that. So
Yeah, so
should have been the
I think
lean Jack shooter.
you're gonna have a problem with Nemhard's handles. Um
Yeah, that was
like
my
you're
thing. I don't know if I'd be
defensively
able
you're
to
gonna have a
stay in
problem.
front of him.
It's gonna be high scoring. I think you're gonna be able to score on him though. Like I think especially if you get going, if you get a couple early going, like you'll be able
Yeah,
to
I can
stay in
also
there.
just shoot. I can shoot over him, so I
Yeah,
could
that's what I mean.
still
Like
be
if
okay.
you get on a heater, you'll be able to like hang in there. So I'm gonna go like I'm still gonna give the nod to the current athlete just because you know he's training still, you know. So um like
Yeah,
he's in game shape, you know what I'm saying? We talked about this earlier with Justin Moore. Um I
yeah.
think
The
Jordan could beat Justin Moore one on one right now. Right now.
Oh,
So
thanks,
if anyone
man.
cares.
That means so much. Thanks. You're the best.
Well,
All right, but
hey,
yeah, no. Realistically,
you're not beating any of them. They're all like in season, they're all in like preseason camp right now. No. So you're not beating any of them.
yeah, and I'm like
Arthur Kaluma's a
not at
a
all.
projected first rounder, so that's not happening.
Yeah, I would.
I think that's like
That's the one
21.
that scares me a little bit.
That's like 21-12. Kalkbrenner is
Ah,
21-9.
you're gonna give me 12?
Yeah, you're a bucket, dude. You can score.
Yeah,
Plus
Kaluma, man. I don't know.
Art will get up like 7-2 and then just like try to outscore you. So you'll get points.
See, I think he would actually be the one that yeah, I might actually score. I just worry because he would be the one I just let him shoot. And then of course, because it's me guarding him, he gonna get hot and just like hit a bunch of shots in a row and it's over.
Yeah,
So I don't know. I don't know. Maybe because my little short, stubby T-Rex arms. I don't know. Maybe.
maybe. So yeah, I'm saying 21-9 against Kalkbrenner, 21-12 against Kaluma, and I'm going like 21-19 in a shootout with Nemhard. So what are your answers?
Yeah, I'm going 21-11 against Ryan Kalkbrenner. I'm going 21-15 Nemhard and
You think he beats you by 6? Really?
21.
Hmm.
I
I'm
just don't know
thinking
how I'm gonna. I'm not prepared. Is it three dribble or is it like no matter how many? Like if he has more than
yeah,
three
do what you want,
dribbles,
man.
yeah,
Yeah.
it's 15.
Put him in a locker. I
If
don't
it's
care.
three dribbles, he'll get. I don't know. I don't know. If it's three dribbles, I have a better chance. Might be like I might lose by
100%.
like 2 or 3.
If it's
But
three dribbles, I think you can beat him.
if he can take as many dribbles as he wants, yo, I can't
If
sit
it's three
down like
dribbles with
that anymore.
Kaluma, he
Like
can still
that
dunk.
shit
He can
hurts.
still dunk on
That
you with
shit
three dribbles.
hurts. My hip flexors are still messed up from all the 3-line closeouts. Like I don't know how long I could sit in a defensive stance anymore. I haven't tried
Yeah,
it. I haven't played
yeah.
in all the men's leagues I'm in.
I mean, let's.
I don't play defense. It's actually great. I play safety. It's terrific. It's
So
much better for me.
You haven't guarded in a
Um,
minute then. Okay.
no, and I don't plan to.
He's like, my
And
defensive
so
days are over. I retired as a
I
two-way
literally that
player.
was I tried to get the most out of it. If it wasn't going to work at Creighton, I have a very hard time saying it was going to work anywhere
Okay.
else.
So what you haven't
Yeah.
named a score for
So
Arthur yet.
yeah,
So
and
you're at
then I think
21-11 with Ryan, 21-15 with R2. What's Arthur beat you? What's Art beat you by? Or do you
if
take him out?
he's not shooting well, I'll get 16. If he is shooting well, I might only get like 14, maybe 12.
Okay.
He gonna give me the Kyrie arms. I'm gonna take one. I'm gonna try to make a crossover. He gonna poke that shit. It's not gonna be fun. Yeah, I don't know.
Well, I mean, I thought you were getting all mad at me at first, but I gave you more love than you gave yourself there. At least put you in a shootout with one of them.
But I still was getting buckets though. Like I wasn't. I'm not even concerned that they scored 21 points on me. Like if I'm getting 11, 15, and 16 on current like D1 athletes, I'm still a bucket getter. Like you can't
Yeah.
take that from me.
Okay. Yeah.
I still get buckets.
That's fair. I still think you are a bucket. I mean, I haven't seen your shooting. I don't know what you're shooting these days. I haven't seen the stats. Like
Ooh,
who's
ooh,
tracking that?
ooh.
Who's tracking that for you these
No
days?
one.
No, you said do
No
not want
one.
this.
Me, I'm making it up. I'm making up my own stats now. I really count good games or games I make the step back. That's it.
Okay.
That's just like
So
because I'm really only getting
I'm
about 2 or 3 step backs now. So
you definitely look slimmer than your college days, so I'm concerned about that. So, I'm concerned
that's
about the
yeah,
physicality.
that's
So
I'm not I mean I might be less weight. I'm not slimmer though.
not slim,
I'm
not
like the
slim.
same. Like I'm the same. Actually
You
I'm less weight, but it's like
transferred it from
yeah,
muscle
not
to beer fat or something, like beer belly.
no, the muscle's like gone. Like I tried to max out on push-ups last week and I was like,
Uh-huh.
damn, I used to be able to do like
Shit, dude.
hundreds of these shits.
In that case, double digits might be a tough ask.
This was
Like
like,
maybe they can spot you
this
some.
was like,
Would
this
you
was
take
like,
would you give too much pride to get spotted points?
what?
Do you have too much pride for
All
that?
right,
Like
now we
what
just
if
talking crazy. Now we just talking crazy.
you just told me you don't got
No,
the
never.
I mean you just told me you can't shoot and you're
I
not
don't have
strong
the
anymore. You just
muscle,
told
but
me
I didn't say I
you
who
can't
said I
shoot.
couldn't shoot?
You
Who
just
said that?
listen.
Who said that? Who
You
said
just let's
that?
rewind the tape. You just said I don't defend, I can't shoot, I don't have any muscle. That's what you just said to me. Well, we got it all
I
recorded
can't
here. You
shoot
know
like
that,
I
right?
used to. I can't shoot. I can't shoot like I
I
used
said
to.
who's
I'm sorry, I
logging the
left
shot
out the
chart, and you said
used to.
myself. I lie about it. Like you didn't sound confident. Like if I were listening,
Oh yeah,
if
well
I were
no
doing
one. You
pre,
said
if I were
who's
writing a
tracking the
preseason
shots. I'm
story
saying
on Jordan
no one's
Scurry's season here, I'd
okay.
be like they're 11th place in the
That's
Big
because
East. Like he's not. I don't feel it.
that's
He doesn't
because
believe he can win. That's what. Yeah.
that's some hater shit. Because
I'm not
that's
hating.
I'm
You
no.
said it.
I'm just saying. Nope. I'm just saying that I wasn't shooting the way you're used to me
Yeah.
seeing me shoot. No, I
Yeah.
don't shoot like that anymore at all.
Okay.
No.
All right. Well,
But give me like let me get on the heater. I'm still there. Like that's still I got the J.R. Smith mentality. Like it's still gonna come back out of me. Like if I get hot. But
okay.
I'm not Ray Allen where it's just like always like it's just like always gonna be like that. No, no.
Well, I evaluated it based on the Scur ball I remember from those days. So
It's just I don't know if that skirt ball continues. That skirt ball, there was a lot of motivating factors and why that skirt ball was so deadly.
that's fair. That's sure. I get to be Miles Powell today. Yeah.
Yeah.
These are going up. Um, what's a little bit? Yeah. Oh, the rankings are out. AP poll: men are 9, women are 21. That's some love, right?
That's some love. Well, that's the way it's supposed to be. You
Yeah, I
mean?
think I'm not surprised by that either. I'm
Yeah,
actually
no,
impressed because
it's
I thought Nebraska was going to be ranked ahead of the women's team, and they're not. So I respect to the voters for the media for getting that right.
well, thank God. Finally, where we're
How
supposed to
about
be.
that? Did I
Finally
not
getting
tell you?
some respect on our name.
Did I not tell you that Creighton South Dakota State was going to be a top 25 matchup on
You
night
did.
one?
You
South
sure
Dakota State's
did. You
23,
sure
Creighton's
did.
21. I said it. I said that's where I'll be November 7th. Creighton can have they can pick St. Thomas apart. I'll watch from afar. I'll pay attention from afar, but I'm gonna be at Frost Arena because that place is gonna be
Rocking.
crazy,
Hmm.
crazy. I think it's the only top 25 matchup all week until no Tennessee plays Ohio State night two on the women's side, so that's a good matchup. But it's like one of like three or four in the first week that are top 25 matchups. So
Yeah, that one's gonna be
yeah,
hype. I'm
it's gonna be
excited for
nuts. It's gonna
I'm
be
excited for
nuts.
that one.
Yep. Yeah, that's all from us. That's all I got for tonight. What else you got on your mind?
Man, go Celtics. We going back to the
Oh,
championship.
why you guys
Opening night, because the game's on right now. I gotta get to it, baby. Let's
you guys
go.
have one of the like the most tumultuous off seasons I've ever seen from a team on the come up.
Go C's, go Creighton, go Celtics. You know it. Come on, man.
Nasty. I didn't say anything about the Yankees on this. Like, why'd you have to bring up the Celtics? That's gross. Gross.
What? I'm sorry, you just cut out. Would you say something?
Shut the
What?
he's
I'm
like it's
sorry, the
just gonna
Celtics game on in the background. I couldn't.
anyway.
I thought you said
Yeah.
something about that shitty team from New York. Sorry, my bad.
Anyway, thanks everybody for tuning in and thank you for your questions. We do appreciate it. Um, thanks to my co-host Jordan Scurry. Always good chopping it up with him, even though I hope the Celtics go 0-82. So yeah, that's all from us for tonight. For Jordan Scurry, I'm Matt DeMarinis. This has been another Scurry and the Scrub. Talk to y'all next time.